Well, folks, welcome to One More Edition Politics and Random. Well, it's your host. Thank you so kindly being part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. Where are all my peeps? A lot of them came to the 12 noon show at KPFT, but I want them here too. Where are my peeps? All right. Anyhow, folks, let's see what we got here. Maywood is in the house. AVQ is in the house. Some more are in the house, but they're not making themselves known. So, folks, we are waiting. It's the noon. Too many of you went to the noon show. Hey, Lee Grant is back. How you doing, Brother Grant? Thank you for being there at the KPFT show. And as usual, you had your point of view. And as usual, we spoke about it. All right, let's see who else we got here. Come on, folks. Let yourself be known. Let yourself be known. Let me give you a salute. I want to make sure and characterize all my beautiful people. Tom Hines is in the house. Hello, Tom. How are you doing, my brother? Well, great to see you. Anybody else? Make yourself known. Make yourself known. Throw a little message in the message chat so I can say hello. Anyhow, we're going to have a great program for you today. The title of the show is gonna be, and I forget, but I know what it is. But I forget the title of the show today. But I'm about to pull it up so I can read it appropriately. It is Billionaires are parasites that hurt us. Progressives are not the extremists. Guess who are? Subtitle: Billionaires are not the genius as many think. They are a menace to society. Progressives are not the ones that are extremists. It is those. It is those that listening to the American people that are not. It is those that are not. Why did I miss that word in there? Those that are not listening to the American people. Those are the folks that we should consider extremists. Don't you agree? I think you do. Anyhow, folks, it turns out now, according to Common Dreams, that, we saw it, AG Merrick Garland appoints a special counsel to oversee Trump probes, more than likely caused by the man deciding that he wanted to run again. And, he thought he was going to run. And by running again, the AG was just going to shoo things, right? Not do anything about it. But that's not what happened. Here's what it says. AG Merlin Garland appoints special counsel to oversee, and let me put that on the screen as well, to oversee Trump probes. There is a mountain of evidence against Trump, and he should be prosecuted as swiftly as possible, said one watchdog. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced Friday that he has appointed Jack Smith, a longtime federal prosecutor, as special counsel to oversee ongoing investigations into former President Donald Trump, handling of classified documents and his role in the January 6, 2021 attack on the United States Capitol. The announcement comes days after Trump formally launched his 2024 presidential bid, as he faces a number of state and federal probes and his conduct as president and as head of his real estate and business empire. Oops! The guy is back in the news. Based on recent developments, including the former president's announcement that he is a candidate for president in the election and the sitting president's stated intention to be a candidate as well, I have concluded that it is in the public interest to appoint a special counsel, Garland said Friday. Such an appointment underscores the department's commitment to both independence and accountability in particular sensitive matters. It also allows prosecutors and agents to continue to work expeditiously and to make decisions indisputably guided only by the facts of laws. There you go. So it is on. All right, Tom C. is in the house. He says, GOP ready to go pee on the American people with 2 years of worthless investigations. They don't care. That's all they know how to do. Make a lot of noise. No policies. Maywood says, I've been having a little trouble thinking and remembering to tune into the radio show. Used to love the live call-in parts. I know, but I'm doing that Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at noon. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at noon at KPFT. And we're working on some other things to see if we can actually do it directly from here. We'll see. We'll see how it works. Paul Fleming says, the SHIT has hit the fan for the former president. You don't do this unless you have him by the pelotas. I think you're absolutely right. And what else we got here? Paul Fleming says he was checking in, and Maywood is here, of course. And Tom, or one and only Lee Grant, is in the house. Lee, how you doing today? Hey, Lee, what you thought about the show at KPFT today? I want your unadulterated opinion. I don't want you passing it through your ideological lens. Just tell me what you thought about it today. I thought all of you, by combining the online and the call-ins, I thought it worked pretty well today, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on the show as well. Michael Rudden says, sadly, noon shows are impossible for me. I'll keep watching this live stream, though. Well, I tell you something, Rudden. It is y'all's fault why I am doing 2 shows on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I promised it. Anyhow, continuing with Michael Rudnin's stuff, Ground News Aggregator says Democrat Adam Fitch conceded on Friday to Representative Lauren Boebert in the nail-biter House race for Colorado 3rd District, saying that an expected recount was unlikely to change the outcome of the election. He asked supporters not to donate to his campaign for the recount effort. That is what I think class looks like. He almost did it. He didn't do it. Sorry, dry, talking a lot today. He donated, or rather, he ran a good race. He almost did it. I mean, if we had gotten a few more Latinos out, he would have done it. Ground News Aggregator, Democratic Representative Katie Porter, famous for her whiteboard, wins re-election after a tough race in California. Democratic Congresswoman Katie Porter has been re-elected to represent the 47th House District in Orange County after a narrow win over Republican Scott Baugh. I love that woman. Porter is a former UC Irvine law professor known for her tough questioning of witnesses during hearings of the House Oversight and Natural Resources Committee, questioning, for example, the heads of Wells Fargo and Bank of America, as well as J.P. Morgan Chase. I love her. Me gusta esa mujer. All right. Last one, and of course, the man had to give me a long one to end. I don't think I can read it all, but here it goes. Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Massive methane leak in Cambria County remains uncontrolled at natural gas storage field. A natural gas storage well in Cambria County has been leaking for 10 days, blanketing the mountains in Jackson Township with a roar-like jet engine and its valleys with an odor of hydrocarbons. Equitrans Midstream Corporation, which owns the well, has estimated that the leak may be around 100 million cubic feet a day. Wow, the figure is preliminary and has been fluctuating as the Canasburg-based company and the specialized well control firm that brought it in have struggled and so far failed to kill the well. At that rate, the well may have already dispensed some 1 billion cubic feet of gas, about 10% of the gas that was recently injected into and held at the Roger Mountain Storage Facility in preparation for winter. By comparison, the Alisa Canyon storage that leaked for 118 days in California in 2015 and 2016 and is believed to have been the largest methane leak in history was estimated at 4.62 billion cubic feet in total. Madre mia. The environmental damage from fracking has numerous failure points, and while old uncapped fracking wells are their largest contributing source of methane emissions, major leaks such as this one only add to the calamity. To be clear, those fossil fuel leaks happen over 300 times per year, but mostly from pipelines, not storage facilities. Thank you for that update. All right, let's see what we're going to do here. Let's go ahead and talk about... Let's do the billionaires first, and then we talk about... let's see. Yeah, we'll do the billionaires first, and then we'll talk about progressives. I'll end on progressives. So let me play a segment that I did at KPFT a few days ago. And let me tell you about this. This guy called in, and he was not happy at all that I called out billionaires. He did not like it. He wanted me to protect the billionaires in effect, but I think at the end of the conversation, I think he got it. So let's go ahead and play that. Paul Fleming is in the house. He says, anyone concerned about the bank that loaned Musk $13 billion with the interest payments of $1 billion a year? Wow. Interesting, right? All right, let's go ahead and play that video, then we'll take it on the other side. Let's get Ted onto the air. Ted, you're hot.
Hey, I really want to... Now, ordinarily, I'm pretty left, but you have really made a mistake. There is not one pie that stays the same size. The pie can grow.
Yes.
And innovation increases. I agree that billionaires should pay more taxes. And so on and so forth, but you are really falling into a fallacy.
I am so glad that you said that, Ted.
When you say that billionaires, the innovative billionaires, not the ones that inherit, they come up with new ideas that, create more jobs and more competition if managed correctly. I grant you that Republicans, by destroying the trust busting and various other things that they're doing are actually destroying competition. But
Ted, I am so happy you called in. Are you willing to
stealing money?
Yes, they are
creating wealth.
No, they're stealing money, but I'd like to.
They should pay more taxes. I mean, they should pay more tax.
Ted, can you entertain a conversation?
They should pay higher wages.
Ted, I'm glad you called. First of all, thank you for calling because I needed this. I needed this pushback really, really bad to make my case because I honestly say this respectfully. You have fallen into the indoctrinative trap that I fell into when I considered myself a full-fledged capitalist. Let me first tell you a little something, okay? I had a software company, developed my own software, marketed it, had complete pricing power, and was able to sell my software at very high prices to Boeing and several other petroleum industries, space industry, etc. Okay? So I'm not talking from a position of ignorance here. The second point that I really want to make to you here is that
most of my knowledge is academic. But,
okay. Sure. Let me continue, if you will, as I listened to you earlier. The second point that I want to make is innovation, right? None of these billionaires innovated anything. Let me start. I know you're going to say, oh my God, blasphemy. Let me explain. Back in the 90s, right? I wanted to create a shopping cart pro application. I'm a software developer, engineer, etc. I wanted to develop an application. And I started to do a patent search just to be sure is what it suggested that I do. And I realized that Jeff Bezos, okay, patented something called one click. And by the way, you can look all of this, everything that I say on air, please corroborate it yourself with your own research. Jeff Bezos patented one click. What Jeff Bezos did with one click is froze me out and many hundreds, if not thousands, of other software developers out of what he now has become Amazon. We were creating a platform. Many of us had that idea. He didn't innovate to create Amazon, what made him his wealth. What he did was freeze many people out of the market. That's why, if you read my book, as I see it, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, I go through the entire process of how the patent system has been used to really, which is a part of our economic system to freeze people out. All right. Now, that said, if you look at innovation.
Okay, I agree with you. We need more competition.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're getting somewhere, sir. Now, let me continue.
But again,
but let me finish.
I'm not a limited amount of money.
Actually, I don't think I ever said there was a limited amount of money. What I did say is that our economic system over decades have been grown at, let's say, an average rate of 2 to 7%. Okay. And in that growth rate, if those people who are in the capital domain, if their rate of growth is, let's say, 7 to 10 to 12% per year, and the economy is growing at 2 to 3 to 4% per year, it means that money out of that pie, even though it's a growing pie, they are taking a larger share of that pie. And if they're taking a larger share,
would be remedied by higher taxation.
What I'm trying to say, Ted, is the following. There is so much that you're going to realize that you're in agreement with me on, but because of the way I am saying it, because I
agree with you, but I don't. You implied that people are stealing from a limited number of resources.
That was a wrong imply. That was a wrong. If somehow it came out that way.
The process of innovation, for example, the fact that we have cars instead of horses has increased the size of the economic pie.
Of course, I don't deny that at all. But guess what, Ted? Let's look. The biggest innovator in these times have been the realization of the internet, and that internet wasn't created by a whole bunch of billionaires or people who maximize on billionaires. It was created by DARPA, okay? And said creation was done by you and me and all of us who paid taxes. We are the ones who did the work. And after the work was done, somebody decided how to capitalize on the work that was designed. So they didn't innovate. They capitalized on it. And we have to learn to differentiate the word capitalization and innovation. Because those who innovate, engineers, scientists, these guys are paid, like I said, once. And the reason I use
how to apply it commercially.
Right. And that's what engineers do. Actually, it wasn't Bezos who did that. Engineers.
By doing that, usually they improve the efficiency and.
I agree.
And make it more available to more people.
I agree.
Give them something they want.
I agree, sir. I mean, there's no disagreement here. What's the disagreement here is that what the capitalist system has done is it has tied having those who are accumulating the worth of others into somehow if we don't apply that paradigm, that somehow innovation ceases. And my contention is that no, innovation doesn't cease by not having billionaires. In fact, because billionaires don't create innovation. Innovation, let me tell you, I would stay in my office and innovate, paid or not.
The fact that billionaires are trying to get to space, that's going to increase the number of ideas.
No.
On how we're going to. I think
that has already proven
space more effectively.
No, I think I've already been proven right there. Let me tell you why I have been proven right. What Bezos is doing is reinventing what I worked for NASA back in the 90s. What he is doing is way with prettier equipment, but it's way behind what we did on the space station project, what we did I wasn't with the Apollo. I was too young then, but for the Apollo project, all these things have been done before. He is just recycling things that we know work already. In other words, what he's doing is creating an avenue for rich people to go to space, etc. But everything that these guys have done, we've already done it and done more with taxpayer dollars and innovation done by engineers on government salaries. And that's what I'm saying. It's how it's marketed, like, oh, the private sector into space now. And I'm sitting down twiddling my fingers, Brother Ted. I'm saying, wait a minute. We did that with a computer that is less powerful than my cell phone. And what happens is how we market things.
He's inventing a market.
Yes, he is. That neither you and I can take advantage of.
I agree with you that billionaires are getting over on us, and that by protecting them, especially inherited wealth,
yes,
like 60% of the wealth, they are reducing innovation. And I'm saying that we need more. I don't see any problem with having a private sector innovate, coming up with ideas.
I have no problem either. I have no problem with that either. And that is where, and this is the reason I wanted to have the conversation. Once you said what you said, I wanted this conversation because of how we've been taught in school about economics, and we've been taught about our economy. A lot of times when I say certain things, it's like, that is such a left-wing thing. You communists, you social. No, that's not it at all. For me, it's all about fairness, right?
I'm pretty left wing.
Right. But for me, it's about fairness. It's about fairness and fairness. And it irks me that so many Americans do so much. They make you believe that Americans are lazy, or a certain group of Americans are lazy. I ask folks to do one thing. Go to any community at 7 in the morning in Houston, Texas, and you'll see people hustling at the bus stops, people on the roads, everything. Americans are very, very hard workers. Yet the billionaires, as soon as they are going to make a tad bit less, they have no problems. Bezos had no problems releasing 10,000 people, as opposed to saying, but then giving away $100 million to make it look cool. And until we stop adulating, until we stop looking at these guys as something special or benevolent and look for them as what they really are, parasites, and really they are parasites, until we learn how not to feel bad calling them parasites. In other words, sometimes it irks you when I say billionaires, parasites.
I don't know if they're totally parasites.
They're not totally, but there
are some parasitic properties. But anyway,
yes,
I got to go.
All right, look.
Talking to you.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir. You have a great day. Now, if you notice, in the end, he kept on agreeing. And the reason why is that most of us, left, right, or otherwise, when you break things down, it is amazing how much we really have and think in common. It's just so darn amazing that we want the same thing. Thank you very much, Lee Grant. Lee Grant says, hey, Egberto, KPFT show was good, especially the chat where noted how another leftist attack on free speech. Ann Coulter shouted down at Cornell. Hey, I didn't see that, but hey, that's good. I like to see conversation. All right, Maywood's, let's see, let's get up to where I left off in reading. Maywood says, no, not that one. Paul Fleming says, anyone concerned about the bank that loaned Musk $13 billion with the interest payment of $1 billion? Yeah, they may lose their money, because it seems to me like Twitter is going, let me tell you what irks me about Twitter. Here comes Elon Musk. He buys the company and he tells everybody, decide if you want to work like a slave. And if you don't want to work like a slave or harder than a slave, quit now. I mean, he probably thought these people are not going to want to quit. Well, you know what? A whole bunch of them quit. And then he had to run back and beg them to come back to work. Please, 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 don't quit. We need you. Then he told them, you're not going to work from home anymore. Get your butt back in the office. And what you think happened? Another billionaire fail. He had to go ahead and change again. I think I saw the article on Common Dreams today. Let's see if that's where I saw it. I saw it somewhere. Okay. Twitter, check this out. Twitter on the verge of collapse. Twitter on the verge of collapse as workers quit in revolt against notorious union buster Elon Musk. One anti-worker union busting significant sack of SHIT billionaire is casual torpedoing the livelihoods of thousands of precarious media workers in the name of free speech, tweeted the labor journalist. Twitter workers reportedly quit by the hundreds Thursday after refusing to billionaire Elon Musk's demand that they work longer hours as part of his self-described extremely hardcore plan to overhaul the social media platform. I tell you, being a billionaire don't mean you're smart. Being a billionaire don't mean you have social skills. It just means you had the wherewithal to have had $1 billion. Nada más significa esto, amigos míos. As a result, the company that Musk purchased for $44 billion just weeks ago is in chaos as a mass exodus of employees and the billionaire's earlier decision to fire half of the workers' force are threatening basic day-to-day operations of the platform used by hundreds of millions of people around the world. It's no coincidence that a notorious union buster and flagrant violator of labor law is effectively running one of the most viable tools we have for union organizing into the ground. The AFL-CIO's news report detailed the internal turmoil at the company as Musk and his advisors scrambled to stop the employees from quitting. I love it. You know, when we had another time like this, Remember, I always tell you guys that the power is within us. We have the power. We don't have to listen to the plutocracy. We don't have to let the plutocracy be make believe they're the sole stakeholders in our economy. The stakeholders in our economy are all of us. All of us. But they tend to have the monopoly on it. Well, guess what? 2 times in the last 3 years, the people have spoken. Look at Twitter, pulling him to his knees. And remember when at the pandemic, when we went ahead and asked everybody to stay home and everybody stopped spending? Remember how a lot of the companies were begging us to come back. We have to understand that it's not a one-way street. It's bi-directional. It's a relationship. It should be an equitable relationship between worker and employer, between employer and customer. They're all stakeholders, and they should all be in harmony. They should all be in harmony. I don't know what you're talking about, Egberto and Bezos lie. I don't know what you mean by that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Para ver. Daniel Edo says, leftists believe in regulated speech. No, we don't. I don't. You know, you come in here and you say whatever you want, as long as you're not obscene. Eric K says, innovation without investment is nada. I agree. So what's your point? Innovation without investment is nothing. So I can innovate a whole lot of stuff. And when it's time for me to capitalize it, in other words, turn it into or I shouldn't say capitalize. I hate that word. When it's time for me to turn it into a product, I need people to invest in it. And that's not a problem at all. But all the investors should have a skin in the game. The employers and the employees who also built it should have a stake in the game. They're stakeholders. That's not how it works. The billionaires steal all the vast majority of all the money, the vast majority of all the worth of the company. That isn't fair. All right, Daniel Edo says, Maywood, that's the game. Leftists redefine ideas to fit an extremist narrative and then rationalize shutting down speech. Wow. Melanie Keelan says, getting in late. Evening, everybody. Hi, Melanie. Love to see you here. Lee Grant, Daniel Edo, and I have seen the hurt and heard the far right shouting down just as much. Daniel Edo says to Maywood, but believe that it helps if you sleep at night. Hey, brother, Bruce Pollard is in the house. He says, I totally agree. Rape the earth for private gain and expect praise. Billionaires are the foul. Love you, Bruce. You hit the nail on the head. Let's see what we see. E2247 says, hi, Melanie, right on time for Egberto Live instead of on tape. Hey, man, E2247, don't you like when I give you the tape pieces? Come on, brother. You know I love you. All right, let's see. Eric Hayes says, I agree wholeheartedly, but every time the government tries to invest in society, you start scrying spending. Maywood, you hit the nail on the head. You did it. Daniel also said, access to capital does not guarantee success. Look into FTX. You're right. And the government can talk to you about that. The government invests in thousands and thousands of research every year. Most of them don't turn out to anything, but you have to invest in research to get a result. But here's how our economy works. The government pays to invest in medicines. The government pays to invest in technologies. And when something is right on the cusp, or it seems like it's going to be viable, then the capitalists move in, buy the patent, take it over, and screw us all. So we invest in making this product. The capitalists come in, and then they make us invest again in that product in the form of high prices. Come on, guys. That's how it works. That's how it works. Lee Grant says, May would cite some YouTube video to support your contention. I can give you hundreds of such examples where the left attacks free speech. That's true. And Lee Grant, all of you are right. We have to stop attacking people as they speak. I want to go ahead and give people the opportunity. Sometimes they'll make a fool of themselves. Bruce says, so We'll march day and night by the big cooling towers. They have the plant, but we have the power. Nosotros tenemos el poder. You're absolutely right, Brother Bruce. Absolutely right. Hey, Bruce, let me know when you want to go into the station again and have a chat and sitting down. I'm bringing people in there. And anybody in Houston area, hey, Paul, Lee Grant, you're in Houston, right? Come and sit down in the studio with me sometime. And I'm serious about that. Bring my conservative into the studio and have a chat. I'd love to have that. So think about it. Diane NT, what a wonderful testimony of life. I really want to say thanks to Dr. Oso, the great healer of our time. Oh, what is that? Oh, please, you don't. Diane, why would you bring a commercial in here? If you look, here's the thing, Diane. You don't have to try to trick me into doing something, right? If you have a viable product or something that you really want to get out there, and, I know how expensive commercials are and all that kind of stuff. This is people's show. I don't want to be tricked into something, but if you have something worth saying, I don't mind you saying it on my show at all. But don't do it like that. Come on, girl. Please, don't do it like that. I am a very, I'm a people person that believe in we should all support each other. But come on, if you're going to do something like that, drop me a line or something and say, Egberto, there's this product that I believe in. Even if I don't know for it as a fact, I'll then tell you something like, hey, guy, try it. And I don't think Diane is a spam bat. Check it out, and see if she's a bot or is it for real. All right, Michael, as it comes to government spending, infrastructure investment, and social welfare spending are the best money well spent. And it is an investment. It is an investment, Michael. You hit it on the nail. Paul Fleming says, who purchases a company that's worth $11 billion or $44 billion? Somebody that's not too smart. And Musk, this says it all about how smart he is. I told what is his name? Eric Hayes, that couple of days, he sent me a little note. And I said, you listen to Eric Musk, having a lot of money doesn't mean you're smart. Having a lot of money don't mean you're smart. Melanie Keelan is true. Absolutely right. All right, let's see. Daniel Ado says, you said Bezos is not special. That the only reason he is a success is because he had access to capital? Yes. And I wrote it in my book where he got the access to that capital. You said that not 15 minutes ago. Now you want to agree with me that access to capital doesn't guarantee success. I think your brain isn't working correctly. Where did I say that? Somebody just wrote that innovation requires access to capital to bring it out to fruition. Where did I don't think I once disputed that. Rewind the tape. Rewind the tape. Well, it's not tape anymore. Back it up. Because, I said innovation does not depend. I don't need money to innovate. There are two steps to there's innovation, and then there's bringing an innovation to fruition for the entire body. If you're going to bring it to fruition for the entire body, then at that point, you need investors, or if you're wealthy or people that help you bring it up. I never said that wasn't the case. All right, let's see. Bruce says, you mentioned the Red Cup Rebellion, solidarity for Starbucks workers. Yes, and I should play one of those. I interviewed some Starbucks workers that got laid off. Trader Joe's is hard on the union busting bandwagon, and to think they were supposed to have been the good ones. Solidarity, yes, sir. Okay, Michael Rodden says, Mike, Elon Musk kind of government subsidies. Yeah, he got a ton of government subsidies as investments into his companies. Is suddenly worried about them. Musk companies, including Tesla, receive an estimated $4.9 billion in government subsidies. That includes a major investment from the Department of Energy to build the first models of electric cars and the Obama-era tax credits that inside. They like to take. They're just takers. Egberto just can't help lying and gaslighting. Again, it's all on tape, Mr. Ledo. It's on tape. Listen to the words instead of listening to what you would hope to hear in order to say, psych, I got you. It's not going to happen. Lee Grant says, replying to Eric Hayes, right, SBSF and Mad Max were playing patty cake. Tom C. says, billionaires not a big problem with fair progressive taxation, government regulations of non-competitive corporations, strong safety net, free health education. NOIOA, the Nordic model of democratic socialism. You know what is interesting, Brother Tom? I was talking to Tori Mercer, who came on our KPFT show, and that is one of the things that we spoke about. I said if we had fair taxation and the appropriate type of redistribution, given that you'll just be redistributing money that was unearned, that you won't even have to talk about billionaires in the first place because they wouldn't exist. Paul Fleming says, if I told you that my brother invented the planner before Franklin Covey, but couldn't get investors we believed because of color and he hadn't finished college, I believe you 100%. It's the same thing that happened to me, but mine wasn't race-based, mine was patent-based for one click developed by El Señor Bezos. Look up the one click story. It's out there, you know. A lot of us got were hurt by the one click story. Musk's father owned several gem mines. He's never been poor. I know, and he's an autistic guy that you can see have communication problems. Eric sent me a speech that he gave, and it's interesting because I've sent money, being raised rich. He would have had nothing, right? All right, Michael René says, Daniel Ledo is confusing his own transference and projection, the accusation in a mirror for what he believes to be gaslighting. Thank you. I think that is right. All right, let's see what we got here. Eric K says, you like numbers. Here, these don't lie and target. I don't know what that says. Daniel says, whoa, Egberto can't even remember what he said 20 minutes ago. Rewind the tape. That's all you got to do. I think he just has internalized the progressive talking point so much, he just spews his BS without thought. Not really. Everything that I say is calculated, sir. Eric Hayes, do you expect anyone to watch your videos links while they're watching Egberto's live stream? Seriously? Save that for the end of the show. That's funny. All right, Eric Hayes, who cares? And he is not autistic. He has Asperger's. Sorry. I think you're right. It is Asperger's that he has. You're right. And I am not really apt in all the differences, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're correct, though, Mr. Hayes. And like I always say, when I'm corrected, whether in real time or otherwise, I make it be known right away, like I did just then. All right. I think it's about that time that we should jump subjects. And I talked about this on my KPFT show. But beforehand, I want to show you somebody that is very, 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 very menacing. I want to show you her. I've played her here before. She's menacing. She's a progressive. All she wants is what's good for America, but she is dangerous. Check this out.
Representative Ilhan Omar, let me first tell you that as an immigrant myself, you are a hell of an honor to have representing us all in Congress.
Where are you from?
I am from Panama, Central America. Okay. Now, I find it ironic that today, from those who many a times have been attacking you unfortunately for wrong reasons, are the ones that are putting our democracy at risk. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it is ironic, right? People who have said that I was un-American are truly now showing how un-American they are. They have contempt for our democracy, for our republic, for our constitution. And it just goes to show that immigrants really do represent the best of us. Like, no one really loves this country like people like myself and you and all of the immigrants.
We chose to be here.
We chose to be here. And really feel extreme gratitude for our adopted home that has given us every opportunity that could be available to us.
Now, I think one of the problems we have is we have a problem getting our message out. And one of the reasons I do what I do as independent media is to ensure that your message and the message of many others is not misconstrued. It's not really twisted. Yeah. So my question to you is, what do you have to tell? I don't want you to speak to the choir. I want you to speak to the portion of my audience that is right wing, that really are not informed from somebody like me, but's informed by all the wrong people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what can I say to those folks? It's really important that people understand that the American experiment is something that a lot of people have reference for. A lot of people really look up to it across the world. I grew up and was raised by a father and a grandfather that were born in colonized Somalia. Mm-hmm. All they wanted to do was participate in a democracy. And so we have an incredible opportunity in this country to have one of the greatest constitutions, to live in a country that has open society where you can actually shape, the outcome of your life in your own way. And I think I just want to remind people that, when the founding fathers developed the Constitution, they wanted us to continue to create a more perfect union. And every work that we do today, whether it is the expansion of access for people to the ballot box, or whether it is trying to make sure everyone has health care that they need so they're not going bankrupt because they got sick, or whether, it's like passing the legislation I passed to feed our babies' bellies before we feed their brains. All of those things really help create that more perfect union, and we have to be in it together as Americans in this country.
Couldn't have been said any better. One last question and I'm done. I know you're very tired from being out there. So do we win or do we keep the House? Yes or no?
I'm very optimistic about us keeping the House and hopefully growing our majority and doing the same in the Senate. And then we get to do incredible things in the next 2 years.
Representative Ilhan Omar, thank you so kindly for having spoken to Politics Done Right.
Thank you.
All right. I don't think that's not the truth at all, Lee Grant. You have to not believe the caricature that people make of Ilhan Omar. I know folks like to say that she's anti-Semitic. Let me tell you something, okay? And I need myself to be very conscious in the way I'm going to say this, because people like to misconstrue whenever we talk about the Jewish-Palestinian issue. But I am going to just postulate or pose a question. In the last major Palestinian Israeli uprising, there were about 100 Israelis that were killed. There were over, I believe, if I recall correctly, over 4,000 Palestinians killed. There were rockets from Palestinian areas into the different areas in Jerusalem, or rather in Israel. Several, you know what I'm talking about, rockets. But Israel responded, and I don't know who started what. I'm not sure who started what. Israel responded with decimating complete neighborhoods, blowing them concrete buildings and apartments, including a skyscraper with all the antennas for the different networks, all the way down to the ground. They bombed it to smithereens, killing a lot of people and all of that. But we call the Palestinians the ones who are evil. We don't look at this as being this fight between these two sectors. We just demonize one side. I ask all of you to do your own research and ask yourself, is this what Menachem Begin would have done? Is this what Golda would have done? I actually don't think so. In as much as they were all, wanted Israel, with that what they would have done? I don't think so. Next question is as well, if somebody comes into a land that's been yours for centuries, and they tell you this land is no longer yours, God gave you the land, what would your statement be? What would your behavior be? These are questions we shouldn't be asking them in a way to attack or in some anti-Semitic way. Because I can tell you one thing: I believe in all peoples. I mean, but all people are humans. All people want a sense of home. So the reason I'm giving this semi-long rant, brother Lee Grant, is because too many are looking at Ilhan Omar through the eyes of what some would like you to see her to be, as opposed to somebody who has been and continue to be maligned and unfortunately oppressed. Think about it. Drop all the political stuff that come from Netanyahu, who is a very evil guy. Forget those comments. Talk to real Israelis. Talk to Israeli Americans who sit down and wonder how the hell could Netanyahu be doing what he is doing. Think about it. Omar isn't rich yet, Eric. All right, welcome aboard. Tom C. says, per WebMD, Asperger's syndrome is part of a broad category called autism spectrum disorder. Even so, lots of people still use the term as, oh, wow, so I was right then. Hey, Eric, I got to take back my apology, man. It looks that, folks, my people did their research. So it is autism as well. Thank you, guys. See, we got our peeps, man. Our peeps are very smart. Deborah Moyer says, yes, people with Asperger's tend to be high functioning and can be very intelligent, often called in one specific area. Thank you very much, Deborah. We also have from Lee Grant saying, she's just BSing you, Egberto. She's an anti-Semite. That comment is what I read when I came with my little rant, dear brother. Omar defunded police, right? No, she did not. So can't continue a sentence that started with a lie. I wonder what Ilhan has to say about the situation regarding Sharia law. She doesn't believe in Sharia law. Deborah Moyer says, they are not listening. You could learn something. Gracias. Daniel Edo says, we need to purge our government of people like Omar. I love Omar. I love the squad. I think the squad is the best thing that has happened to the Democratic Party, to put it bluntly. All right, let's see what else we have here. What did follow the Benjamins mean? Follow the dollars, maybe? Follow where the dollars are coming from? Like when certain people wanted to get certain people out of office, a lot of the dollars come from somewhere. Let's see. Deborah Moyer says, I think corporations are doing that. Doing what? Government is but effing the working class. Thank you for rebutting that, Deborah. You hit the nail on the head. And Deborah says, I don't think she's not rich at all. In fact, I spent some time with after that interview, both her and her husband. And he actually is a very nice guy. Man, is he protective of her, though. He is very, very protective of her. In fact, her assistant, when I first went to the assistant and said, hey, look, I need to talk to Omar. And he said, okay, but you know what? Beforehand, could you talk to her husband? So I went up to her husband and I did her regular good, pat back, all that good. So, hey, man, bam. I've been, doing some writing about her, etc. I want to talk to her in the flesh, that good stuff. And he said, who are you again? And I said, this is who I am, man. And then I showed him a few things and he said, oh, yeah. Then he pointed at her and he pointed at her and went like this. I tell you, it was a good day. Just about everybody that I wanted to interview at Netroots, all the guys, oh yeah, come on in. All right, Paul Fleming says there is a right wing that doesn't want free speech or freedom thought. Yeah, but let me tell you something, Paul. Those of us on the left, we have to be careful not to fall into the trap as well. Just like I give all my right wingers in this space the opportunity to speak, we should do this at universities and elsewhere. That's how you get the communication going. That is how you do it. Brother Bruce says, why don't we hear more criticisms about radical right-wing rhetoric, such as Trump's, which has led the deaths of many people? Because we don't fight the strong fight. You're right, Bruce. That's what we need to do. If your wife had death threats, you would be too. Yes, I know. All thoughts matter. What is that going to be? ATM. All thoughts matter. I like that. We're going to start calling that ATM. All right, folks. Let's go to my ask, and then we'll start winding this baby down. Politics Done Right depends on you to keep doing what we do. What do? We make sure to keep, number one, the internet seeded with blogs and information to counter the right and to present what progressives represent for the benefit of us all to everybody so that it's not misread, misled by any other entity. We make sure and populate that internet with blogs, with videos, with all these other things to make sure that we are informed and to counter everything that you normally hear that are lying at the right. We also make sure to create articles in magazines, articles in newspapers all around the country to ensure, again, that our message gets out there. Last but not least, we also write books. As you see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom, How to Make America Utopia, are two of the many books that I've written on these issues. So please support us in one of many ways. Numero uno, you can support us at PayPal, either one time or monthly. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us on Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. You can support us by becoming a part of our YouTube channel, going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, or you can support us in many other forms that you can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. Be sure to visit our store, politicsdoneright.com/store, and get our books at politicsdoneright.com/books. Politics Done Right. Absolutely so, folks. Absolutely so. Please don't forget, support my new book, politicsdoneright.com/tribulations. Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean man. Racism didn't stop my smile, hope, or journey forward. You can read it for free online for now because Amazon is giving away a lot of stars. So if you go to politicsdoneright.com/tribulations, you can actually read the entire thing as I glued. I think I'm up to chapter 10. Over the Thanksgiving holiday, I will be staying put and putting a few more chapters in, closing it up to pretty darn close. I want to make it pretty darn close to being finished. So please check out politicsdoneright.com/tribulations. Bruce says, any comment on how the Saudi prince can get away with murder? The idea of silencing critics through violence must be stopped. Absolutely, sir. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Folks, I didn't get to talk as much on the billionaires, rather on the issue about what's that issue that I wanted about progressives. But I'm going to write an article this week about progressives not being the extremes, but the other side being the extreme. I'll try to get that article out tonight. I'll probably put it on my Substack. And I didn't get my Substack out this afternoon or this morning, but I will get the Substack out tonight so that, I keep my promise. I keep my promise. So you'll hear that later on. Progressives love FTX. No, but I did hear that that the FTX gave a lot of money to progressives for real. That's what I heard. I guess we get our chance to have our failed corporation that supports folks as well, right? Guess somebody got to do it. But anyhow, look, we're coming up close to the end of the program. I am extremely tired. I want to ask you guys, anybody wants to go ahead and give super chats or any supers? We're here waiting. If anybody wants to go ahead and support us via PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. We cannot do this without you. We need a lot more patrons as well. If you would go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon, please support the show. We simply cannot do this without you. No podemos hacer esto sin lo que nos ayuda. Pueden garantizar que podemos continuar con esto si nos dan la donación para que esté este programa siempre, no únicamente los días de la semana a las 3 de la tarde, pero también a las 12 p.m. Lunes, miércoles y viernes. In case I have some Latinos out there that want to be a part of the fold. And you know what? We were supposed to be doing this program a few times a week in Spanish, but just getting it together, getting all the pieces together, it's just so time consuming. But anyhow, folks, thank you so kindly for being here. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I don't know if something crazy happens over the weekend, I will come up with a show or something. But in the meantime, love you all my peeps, left, right, middle, everybody. Stay well. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics and Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.